camera is all messed up.
We'll fix it. We'll adjust it.
Hello.
Hi, friends.
Do you want to do our intro?
Yeah, sure. Welcome to Purl Perspectives. We are the three Pearls. My name is Allie.
I'm Anahí.
And I'm Carine.
And we are coming to you live from, this time, my living room in Ottawa, Canada.
Change of scenery.
I apologize for how sparse the walls are. I spent all my money buying the place, and I cannot afford yet to decorate it.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm very excited to have a home. It'll be a long time before the walls get painted and things get put up, but I have a plan.
Yeah,
And
a
that's the first step.
lifelong plan.
Lifelong plan.
Let me try to fix the camera because we are like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little loopy.
It also appears to be on a very slight delay.
Oh, that's normal.
Oh, is it?
Is it?
It seems to be like...
Is that better?
A bit, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
How's
It's
that?
still definitely at an angle, but that's okay.
Okay, hold on. How's that?
Looks much the same, but I'm sure it's fine.
It's okay.
We'll
manage.
fine.
This is a...
Woo.
Is that
Give it a second. Give it a second to catch up.
Hey.
I think so. Let's go with it.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Okay.
Oh, no, now it's really...
What the heck is going on?
It's like really delayed.
That's
Why
so
is
weird.
it so delayed?
I don't know. Well,
I hope you guys don't feel seasick that we're at this angle.
oh, I know why.
Okay.
It's because we're not on my Wi-Fi.
Oh, but we can just get on my Wi-Fi.
Yeah!
Why don't we just get on my Wi-Fi?
Let's do that.
Because we're working on an old Wi-Fi. not
Okay, so Carine, while we do that, one, you gotta start us with your dork. And if you don't know what a dork is,
Yeah.
let me put you on to that.
All right. The drink is just plain water in my
Great
wonderful knit
Great cam.
cup. So that's the most basic of all drinks.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what's the next one?
Outfit.
Outfit. Oh, I'm wearing the Velocore. From who?
From Andrea Mowry.
Andrew Murray. Sorry, I'm not really good at names.
That's okay.
So this is the thing I'm wearing. The thing I'm reading right now. Actually, I just started this little piece called The Spell Shop from Sarah Beth Durst, which is kind of adorable. I'm not gonna lie. It is cozy fantasy vibe. Very like, if you like Studio Ghibli, that's the kind of vibe you're getting with this thing.
Hello.
Is it working now?
We're just swapping over the Wi-Fi on the computer.
You get to see my it hand. What is that? The hand from
the Addams Family.
from the Addams Family.
Which the second season of Wednesday is
Wednesday?
coming out later this month. I think.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Allie, I think you're gonna have to come over here.
Here it is. I can show it to you.
Oh, thank you.
There you go. Man.
I want everyone to know that hello.
Who was somebody? Who was it? Oh, it was one of my grad school friends. Was like, oh, have you considered calling it this? Because then you can think about whales all the time. And I was like, excellent idea. So I did.
Oh,
I
that
called
looks
it
a little
Here There
better.
Be Dragons.
There
and
we
now I
go.
can think about grad school. Well, not grad school. Whales all the time.
Wait.
That's much
There
more.
we go.
That's much more.
Okay, so now we're gonna change it in the stream.
This is where it might pop in or pop out.
Yeah. And then we're gonna do a redo because
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah, why not?
Let's do it.
Y'all wanna start over?
Yeah.
Hit it, Allie.
Hello! Take two. Welcome to Purl Perspectives.
Pew, 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 pew.
My
I'm Anahí.
And I'm Carine.
And we are coming to you live today from Ottawa, Canada, as per usual, but from a slightly different location. We are coming to you from my living room. It is sparse, I understand. This is not the grand plan for the space. Don't worry. Don't come at me about my millennial gray walls. They're temporary. I can't afford to decorate yet.
We were starting a GoFundMe
Actually,
to buy posters for Ali.
No, okay. I have artwork and I have a plan and I have all these things. I just want to travel more. So I'm saving money to travel instead of decorate. Because, like, I own this place now. I'm going to be here till I die. It doesn't matter if it takes me 3 years to paint and put up pictures and stuff. Because, you know, it's not like it's a temporary location.
Honestly, I really appreciate that you have your priorities right.
I actually had this conversation with my mom yesterday because my mom, bless her, loved this human so much. She's very excited. She wants to, like, paint. She wants to get it all done. She wants to have everything finished.
Yeah.
Because that's the way she does things. Whereas I'm like...
I gotta live in this space before I know what I want to do with this space.
Exactly. So my plan is to paint this wall behind us and then some of the ones surrounding us the Bear 2025 Color of the Year Rumors. It's a really nice, like, deep
Rumor
red.
has it. Rumor has it.
It's a really nice deep red, so I want to do that. And then I have these long twinkle lights that have, like, the strands that come down and they're, like, about a foot apart. So I'm going to hang those from the very top of the ceiling and have them go floor to ceiling. And then in the, like, 1 foot gaps between all these twinkle lights, I'm going to start putting art on the wall. So, like, I have a plan. I just want to go to France more.
Honestly,
I mean,
same.
Yeah.
Do you have art on your walls, Carine?
No, because we're renting.
And some of your walls are concrete too. So
We
like,
are
putting
not.
stuff up
Yeah,
would be
like there's either
hard.
concrete or we do
The
have
walls are concrete?
Yeah.
Well, yes. So
Some
we
of them.
can definitely put art, like we have art in the apartment, but not on the walls per se. But usually like on top of a dresser or you know, like some kind of like table or so that they're there, but they're not. But I do have a lot of my wall stuff, like the I don't know, paintings or posters or whatever. They're put away in my closet waiting for us to have a house so we can actually put it up.
So your art is not arting right now? What if you just like put it around?
I mean, I can, but like some of them are really, really big. So I have these two really cool frames with like characters. Like it's the actors who played some of the Marvel characters and some of the DC characters.
Oh, yeah.
And I have one for heroes and one for villains, and I really love them. And they were signed by the actors.
Wow!
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not like they weren't
Love
signed
that.
directly. Like this
Love
was
that.
from an auction or something. And they're super cool, but like, yeah, they're just sitting in my closet waiting for me to have a
It's
house.
kind of sad to have art lying around that's not being appreciated.
Yeah, it is.
Especially since with concrete walls, like you can try the like stick-on tabby things, but there's no guarantee that they'll stay stuck on the wall, and you don't want to
That's
risk
the
having
thing.
something drop. So then your next option is like, oh, I'll prop it up on like a table or on like a something like a banquette. But you have 2 cats, so you don't want to guarantee that anything loose on top of a
That's
place where a cat's
so
going to
true.
sit is going to be, especially something that has glass in it.
So y'all
Yeah.
get no judgment from me. And I'm asking the chat to also not be judgmental of bare walls.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's
Our walls
temporary.
are naked,
I mean,
and that's all right.
To be fair, a lot of my walls are actually windows. So,
Yeah, that's true. You have such a bright...
so in my case, it's like the art is the plants in front of the windows. That's the art.
That's right.
It's a whole aesthetic, though, what you have going on in there.
yeah.
I'm
One day
very,
we're going to do a stream from your house. How's
Yeah,
that?
sure, 100%.
Let's
And
do
then
that.
You're gonna have a
y'all
wall of plants in the
y'all,
back.
if y'all are lucky, you might get like a cat
watch.
camo.
Well, you'll probably
cat
get
cameo.
Yes. Every time
Cameo.
a cameo. I love it.
That's actually adorable.
You'll definitely get one from Toy. Tatsi, not so much, but Toy, 100%. Like
Yeah.
he'll be shoving his butt in everybody's faces. Just
Can confirm.
I
shits and
will
giggles.
pass on the butt in the face.
he's not gonna ask your permission. I'm just letting you
Do
know.
it.
He's just gonna like scoot in, and you'll be like, "What is happening right now? Get away from me!"
Oh, where are my manners?
Oh, man.
He's he has no boundaries.
None.
He loves it. Although it's funny because the second he sees you, his first response is hissing, but it's like a tiny little hiss because he has one eye that's like a little. It has a little scar tissue on top, so he doesn't see very well.
So he also hisses at me and my partner when we come home.
peripheral
Because he's like, oh, it's you. Like, it's the initial reaction of like, ah! So, and then the second he's hissed, then he's okay.
Our gain is a little bit too high, so I'm gonna put it down so that we're not screaming in y'all's ears.
Oh, good to know.
We're still learning, fam.
Yeah, we are.
We're still learning.
But yeah, so,
So we're in a new location with bare naked walls.
Temporary. Don't worry, fam. I am a maximalist. I have color drenching plans. I'm not going to walk you through my house because I believe in privacy.
Yeah.
But I can already promise you that like the bedrooms, super colorful. The kitchen, colorful.
Kitschy.
Actually leaning in that direction, I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
I saw, like, now that
One
you're talking
room
about being a
at a time.
maximalist, would you say maximalist grandma is your vibe?
No.
No. Because I saw,
More
I
like-
thought about
No,
you.
because to me, maximalist grandma is like plastic over the couch cushions, like china, cats everywhere, like doilies and lace, and like that's
Okay.
not the vibe
no,
I'm
you're
going
giving me
for.
like more, if we're talking grandma, you're giving me more grandma who travels.
I'm
You know what I
color
mean? Like,
drenching
that
is
was my
Because
grandma.
like,
Yeah.
because like with all the little things around, like that's the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah,
it's like
it's-
I travel. I like so it's not so much there's a theme. It's eclectic, but in a
Yes.
good way. Does
Yeah,
that make
if
sense?
I turn the camera 180 degrees, you'd see like my bookshelves, which are like laden with fun, colorful things.
Yeah.
with little
And
figurines
figurines and stuff
of
like
1,
that.
2, 3, 4, 4 elephants. No, 5 elephants and a camel.
Technically 4 elephants, camel, and Ganesh.
Okay. Well then,
Technically.
clearly the camel is the imposter in here.
It was because I
and
couldn't
he's-
find an elephant when I was in Marrakesh, so I bought a camel instead.
He's probably just going like, I hope they don't notice.
They're all herd animals. I'm sure it's fine. You know, I'm not too concerned. No, I'll get there eventually. Like I said, I had this conversation with my mom yesterday, and I think I really stumped her about it because she's like, "Don't you want it to be like done and ready and pretty and whatever?" And I said, and I quote,
mean-
"I am wildly uninterested in putting money into decorating my apartment when I could put money into my fund and go to France in October with my friend Christiana."
That is totally fair.
So,
I mean,
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah. I am very grateful for all the help that she's been providing me, and I'm very grateful for the like, you know, push that she's giving me regularly to like get stuff done and get it going, but I got no money to do it.
No, that's totally fair.
That's fine. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? Like I bought this place on my own, so I only have the one income to
Yeah.
cover the costs of it.
Yeah.
So like right now
And
I'm
things are
focusing on-
expensive, you know?
and our condo fees just went up, so it's like, okay, cool, I gotta pay for this, I gotta pay for that, I gotta have my
Scoot
head
a
in
little
frame.
bit, my friend, because you're... I zoomed it... No, this way.
Look this way.
I zoomed in and accidentally cut your shoulder off.
Oh no, my
Can
shoulder.
I just do da 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 very slow scroll of the logo.
Wait, what?
Ali just discovered how to move the Purl Perspectives.
I could click and drag it, but I'm just using the down arrow instead.
What do you call it? The watermark. It's
Yeah.
a watermark logo.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Well, it's just because like I'm
you can
vain.
click and drag.
I could, but I'm doing this sideways, and knowing me, I'd take it out of frame. There we go.
That's good enough for me. It's right on your nipple.
Should we return to your dork, Carine?
Yes, I guess we can start over.
Yeah.
Okay, so drink.
What are
I
you
am-
drinking?
I am sporting I'm obsessed with this thing, Knit Sip Knit mug that
It's
is
so cute.
been full of water this entire I mean it's always full of water. It's water right now. It's water all the time.
Isn't it just more fun to drink water out of a huge ass cup?
I just because it forces you to drink a good amount of water per day. There's that.
It's okay. This
So-
has happened multiple times.
Oh,
No
no.
stress.
Oh, I was helping somebody today learn to knit a little bit, and she dropped one stitch, and it's like her life ended. And I was like, "It's okay." She's like, "No, it's gone." I'm like, it's not
Sometimes
gone.
stitches drop, and you know what? That's all right.
It was so cute though.
So
I
that's what
remember
you're-
the panicking. You know, I remember when I started
Yeah.
panicking when I first started knitting. When
Me
the second you
too.
made a mistake, it was like the end of the world.
Yeah. I used to
Um,
throw things away and start over when I made a mistake.
Oh, this is weird.
What?
It's like
Not gone.
the video is kind of pause, stop, pause, stop.
You know, I remember when I started panicking when I first started knitting.
Well, that's weird.
That is weird, but you know what? We're gonna carry on.
Stick with us, fam.
I
Hopefully
think
it fixes itself.
Yeah, I think it's one of those days where it's
It's
what
just
it
gonna
is.
be what it is.
That's okay.
What
we'll take
it is,
it.
boy, what's up? Oh no, it's not boy, it's ho. What it is, ho, what's up?
I'm not sure we should say that.
I don't think I
You
know
don't know
that
this
song.
song? It's
No.
Deutsche.
Yeah, no, I know the song.
Every good girl needs a little thug.
Yeah,
No?
yeah.
Every bad boy needs a little love. If you put it down, I'ma pick it up. What it is, ho. Anyway, that's just what it is.
Ho.
Ho. And you can thank Deutsche for that.
Okay.
So that's what you're drinking.
Yes.
What is your outfit?
I am wearing my Velacore, which is what you're knitting.
Coincidentally.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Look at that. Twins.
Isn't that wonderful?
I promise I'm going to finish this.
I believe you. You're so close.
I'm so close, fam.
You've already. Oh,
You
well,
got
no,
this.
we'll get to it. When you,
We'll get to it.
We'll get to it.
As to what I'm reading,
Da, da,
show it again. So I brought it because it's a really cute little cover. This is the Spell Shop from Sarah Beth Durst.
The
It's-
cover is gorgeous.
Isn't
so
it?
cute.
Isn't it? Okay, so
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna let you finish,
But
I just want to share in the chat because
it's so freaking adorable.
in my D&D group, this is exactly what the dungeon master described to us, as in like, oh, you see these like blue and green little lights, and they're leading you up some stairs, and at the end of the stairs there's a like a chalet, a really old cottage, and you know, like it looks pretty lived in, and do you want to go in, or what do you want to do? And we all were like, oh, that sounds bomb. Let's go into the cottage. It was a witch.
Of course it was.
It was a witch.
This is kind of also
And she kind of fucked us over.
ooh, rude.
We ended up in a different dimension, and we were cursed. People lost their memories. It was a hot mess. So be careful, Carine. There may be a witch right in there.
well, actually, kind of. But anyway, the point is,
Somehow,
this
I
is
doubt it's worth. I doubt it's going to be as scary as your D&D.
this is
Seriously.
cozy fantasy genre. So Studio Ghibli vibe. So if
Cozy
you're-
fantasy.
Yeah.
If you're into those movies like Spirited Away or Howl's Moving Castle, this book's for you. I just want to describe the characters in the first paragraph just to, so you understand what you're getting into, because it's really cute. So Kayla has always had trouble dealing with people. Thankfully, as a librarian at the Great Library of Elysium, she and her assistant Kaz, a magically sentient spider plant,
Oh,
have spent the last decade sequestered among the Empire's most precious spellbooks, preserving their magic to the city's elite, for the city's elite. So essentially, the library burns down, or at least that's how it starts, and they have to flee with as many spellbooks as they can carry.
too
Her
close
and
to
her-
home, honestly.
Her and her plants, her assistant plant, Kaz, and then they're going to take refuge in her, essentially her childhood home, where she's going to have to rebuild her life and create
That's
a.
really cute.
She's actually gonna make a a little like book, like a spell shop, kind of deal. And there's also apparently a very handsome neighbor who can't take a hint and keeps showing up day after day to make sure she's fed and to help fix up the new home. So it sounds delightful.
That's so cute, though.
That's really cute.
So I just started this and I'm already obsessed with it. Like, it's just, yeah, it looks really cute. And so I definitely, I mean, I'm not even like 1/4 in, I'm already recommending it. But if you like that kind of vibe, I definitely recommend it. I'm realizing for me when it comes to books, like I was telling you yesterday, I feel like I have a two extremes.
Yeah.
I'm either in the cozy fantasy or cozy, like almost like fairy tale vibes, where it's like very family friendly, very cute, or I'm into the extreme dark romances and there's nothing in between.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, man.
I mean, there's a few things in between.
Know
but, like,
thyself.
that's my spectrum, and I'm okay with this. As for my knitting, I am back to my the Astrid sweater. I'm
Just
now
a little bit this way, bud.
Sorry.
Yeah,
the Astrid
there
sweater
you
from
go.
Knitting for Olive.
Look at this edge.
I'm obsessed.
You're like, have you done the front and the back? Like split for the front
Yeah.
and the back?
So-
Oh, you already have.
So this is the front. Now I'm knitting the back.
Wow.
And then after that you do the
Is this
sleeves.
going to be a set in sleeves? Are you going to pick up for the sleeve and then go?
I think you
or-
pick up. You
Yeah,
pick
that
up.
sounds about
It
right.
sounds
Or
like you
is
pick
it-
up.
Okay, it's not like a raglan?
No. It's pick up and then you, because it's you can tell in the picture as well.
Yeah.
If you look at the picture.
I think it's a set and sleeve. I think we've
Yeah.
talked about this before.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it is. It's a drop sleeve.
Yeah.
Drop
So-
shoulder.
Drop shoulder. So yeah, that's my door.
Love.
Yeah.
Well, actually, wait. Because I'm kind of like in between projects.
You're bumping around.
And the reason I brought the other one is because I wanted to share
Oh.
how like far along I am.
Wow.
Oh my god, what a lovely color.
You were like barely just starting
Oh,
it
you were
last time we
Thea.
saw you.
So
Or
I
less than
started the lace part,
Cute.
and I'm like obsessed. But the reason that
Yeah, there you
the reason I'm not doing it today is because I'm not gonna. I don't want to risk
go.
doing lace
at
while we're
midnight.
talking. That's just a nightmare
Yeah.
waiting to happen.
Don't
especially
bring
since,
your lace to
Yeah.
knit night.
especially since every row is completely different from the last.
Yeah.
So it's like I wouldn't even know. The only good thing is like you do like a repeat of that little like lace about like 20 times.
Oh,
so you do
okay.
it once and then you kind of like get used to what it is and then you repeat it, and by the time you're done you do it by memory. But the problem is the second you hit the next row it changes, right? So you have to relearn the whole thing again. So it's
Yeah.
not so much a podcast or knit friendly.
Yeah,
Or
it's a sit
knit
down
night
and
friendly,
focus kind of project. Yeah, I get that.
Hence why I have this bad boy here.
Nice.
And
It's always good to have like a stockinette project or like a simple, no thinking required project.
Yeah.
And then a more complicated one, so that depending on where you are at mentally each day, you can be like, yeah, I want to do this complicated one. Or like, no, I'm going to go be socializing. Or no, I'm brain dead after a full crazy day at work.
I just
I
want to
just
go
wanna-
around and
Sometimes-
around.
Yeah.
Have you noticed sometimes like that going around motion, it's almost like it's meditation, right?
Yeah.
But it's like active meditation where it just feels good.
Yeah,
Because
that's
it
right.
forces you to either not think or think, depending on what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I feel like for me sometimes it kind of like forces me to really focus on the action, and then sometimes it does the opposite where it kind of like makes me not think about anything else other than just like, I don't know, just the
Something,
knitting
yeah.
part. Yeah, so it's nice. It's a nice little balance. I love it.
Nice.
So yeah,
Nice.
who's dork wants to go next?
I can go next.
You go next.
Okay. I am drinking a Canada Dry raspberry
Lemonade.
lemonade.
It looks so fancy.
It's their like special edition summer flavor. I bought a case of it.
I am a Canada Dry fan. I love ginger ale. I don't know why. In my head, actually, I think I know why. When I was young, there was this show, Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Oh yeah.
And there's an episode where they go volunteer at an old people's home, like a retirement center or a senior center. And there's this running joke throughout the episode where like all the old people want to drink ginger ale, and ginger ale is an old people's drink. And so I've grown up with a real big love for ginger ale because
Good.
I think it's delicious, and I saw it on that episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And then it's always funny to me because I'm like, it's my old people drink.
Yeah, but we've already established that we are like
In our
old
hearts.
grannies in our hearts.
In our hearts.
We're just
That's
waiting
right.
for our bodies to catch up. So technically, you're not wrong.
I'm not incorrect. But I like that Canada Dry comes out with like special flavors
Yeah.
every
They had a
Yeah.
blackberry
season.
one last year that was so good. I wish I'd bought more of it.
And around Christmas they have the cranberry
That's a good one.
ginger ale. Oh my god.
They've got us.
They've got it.
They've got us. We're hooked. You know, it's
So I'm a
I
fan
love
of the Canada Dry ginger ale in all its varieties. So that's what I'm drinking. My outfit. Okay. Do you think I could stand in this?
yeah. You can. You can stand on this couch. I need a new couch anyway.
Hopefully I won't make a fool of myself. Ugh, oh my god, my arthritis. Okay, hold on. Oh, this is good.
There you go.
I wanted to show you guys my, this is my handmade Winslow Culottes.
These are so nice.
They're so nice.
And they're super, super fun to wear.
I love this
Ginormous
fabric.
pants.
Mm.
This is a thrifted piece of fabric that I got when there was a stash sale at the community center.
Oh,
here.
yes. So the Hindenburg fabric sale
Yeah.
happens early May every year.
Every
we
year.
went last year.
We went last year, and it has pockets.
Oh,
And it has an elastic waistband. Da, 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 da.
love that.
And I love these pants. I made them a couple years ago. They were my summer and fall pants.
Yeah.
And then I like ripped the crotch all the way from the back to all the way to the front. So I was like, this is too indecent even for me. So I didn't wear them for a long time, but recently our friend Alex invited us over to her house to have a sew day, which is the most pure hearted, wholesome thing you can do.
We had a sew-in.
We had a sew-in.
Can confirm.
And Alex has a serger. So I was able to reinforce the crotch seam and the sides with her serger.
Nice.
And now these pants are wearable again.
Yay!
So I'm really happy to report that my Winslow Culottes by Helen's Closet are back in the rotation. And that's what I'm wearing. Highly recommend this pattern. It was super easy. It's literally 2 rectangles and a U shape.
Oh, nice.
And because the waistband is fitted, but there's a blog article on her website, on Helen's Closet website, where she takes you through the steps of, instead of doing gathering in a fitted waistband, on the back you don't do the gathers and you put an elastic instead. The construction is much easier because you don't have to put in a zipper and hook and eye, and it's faster and it's more flexible for those of us that have weight fluctuations or just want to be extra comfy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So highly recommend it. And she's Canadian.
In BC.
She's in BC.
Yeah.
Right?
And she does do that for a lot of her patterns. So if you're looking to find a new pattern designer for sewing, Helen's Closet, highly recommend, because not only does she provide you like the pattern that you purchased, but then she provides multiple like alternatives or different hacks or modifications.
Yeah, for you to just really make it your own.
And most of the time those are for free on her blog, or like it might be a very small like additional pattern price, but it's great because you can then have assistance to make modifications to fit your body.
And it's so nice. It just feels better to wear clothes that you've made yourself, as long as you're not showing your butt to the entire world.
Unless you want to.
Unless you want to, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Buns out, suns out.
Yeah.
But me, I'm keeping my buns under this this pantaloon.
Hi, Marie-Elise.
Salut, Marie-Elise.
Hello.
So that's my outfit. I'm really happy with it, and it's super comfortable. I have no idea what fabric this is. Again, it was from the D-Stash.
Yeah.
To me, it looks kind of like maybe you want it to be curtains.
Yeah, it's giving more of a like household fabric and not an apparel fabric, but it works
is
really
like
it
a
well.
works as an apparel.
It's a lightweight corrugated cotton.
Yeah.
Maybe, if that makes sense to anyone.
Like this, like I almost feel like this could have been like bed sheets.
Yeah, maybe.
Because they have that sturdy quality to them.
Yeah, they're kind of sturdy. So that
Either
makes
way.
it really good for these wide leg pants because it kind of like holds its shape like a bell.
Yeah.
And I find that is a silhouette that looks good with my body shape. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about them. Okay, what am I reading? I finished my book. This Will Be Fun by Rachel. I don't remember what her name is. But no, I loved it. If you like adventure movies and sort of like that will they, won't they kind of romantic stories, This Will Be Fun was such a lovely read. It was short, to the point, had adventure, love, gay love. It had magic. It had a lot of like really, really cool and lighthearted plot points. There was a little bit of sadness, and then in the end, everyone's happy.
That's what you
So
want.
it was such a lovely read.
Guaranteed dopamine.
I talked about it last time we were streaming, and I was telling you it's the story about like a group of heroes 10 years after.
Yes.
They have they saved the realm from a big threat, and like just a look into what happened throughout those 10 years. They lost connections through each other, and some of them became very popular, and others were just like overwhelmed by the attention and chose to be recluse, to recluse themselves.
To be reclusive.
To be reclusive.
Yeah. To be hermits. No.
Yeah.
One of them withdraws and goes to live in the forest, which like
that's hermit
sister
core,
relatable.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's just a cute story about old friends coming together again, and it's so cute. Yeah, highly recommended. And I haven't received any Libby holds since then.
Okay.
So it's been a couple days that I am bookless. I know.
So scary.
Yeah, sacre bleu. But I will survive.
Mm-hmm.
It will be fine.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for some of my Ali Hazelwood holds to come in because I need some romance.
Mm-hmm. Alternatively, there's a function in Libby where you can go see what's available now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I feel like I've taken time and effort to put the holds that
fair.
I actually want to read.
Yeah.
And I don't want to just like pick something.
Fair.
I don't know. I feel like that is to me sort of like ordering randomly out of the menu. And
just hoping for the best.
Yeah, and just hoping that you will like it, and I probably will because I'm not picky. But also, I know what I like.
That's fair.
And I'm waiting for it to come in.
That's fair.
So, yeah, in the meantime, if you have any recommendations, I like fantasy, historical romance, and sci-fi. So, yeah, I'm welcoming recommendations as long as they are in audiobook format because I also wanted it at the same time. And speaking of knitting, I am knitting once again in my everlasting Velicore project.
You're so close, though.
I'm so close. So, y'all have seen this before, but here it is. It's the Andrea Mowry Velicore top.
Which I'm displaying here.
Yeah.
Here is the back panel.
Woo!
Completed. Looks pretty cute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
it does.
I knit quite loosely, so I'm expecting that this is gonna block the heck out.
And isn't one of the yarns like 50% cotton or something?
One of the yarns is a combination of cotton, wool, and linen.
Okay.
My main color. Okay. And the accent color is just a sock wool. A sock yarn.
Got it. Yeah, so you'll have some growth in there.
I will definitely have some growth because there's wool and plant fibers combined in here. And let's be real, my tension's not super even. But because of because of the texture of this pattern, which I will do my best to hold close, it really doesn't matter if your tension is perfect or not.
The pattern was designed to look like a bookshelf.
Yeah.
Bookshelf, so that you could see the books on the bookshelf. Yeah.
And it kind of does look like books on a bookshelf.
It does.
It actually, the word Velicore, she put it in the pattern there. Andrea Mowry put it in the first page of the pattern. Velicore is the smell of old books. Isn't that cute?
My favorite
it's really
smells.
cute.
Yeah. Right after petrichor.
Yes. Oh, love the smell of petrichor.
Yeah.
That's the smell right after it rains.
Yeah, look, wet soil or like
earth.
Moist earth.
Yeah.
That's petrichor. And Velicore is the smell of a stack of books.
I wonder, has she created a pattern inspired by the word petrichor?
I don't know, but if
I
she
feel like
does,
that would
I'll be
be
right on there.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. I feel like what I'm envisioning is kind of like wispy grass blades with some baubles to simulate rain.
Yeah.
Okay. Andrea Mowry, you can have that one for free. Don't even contact me. Just do it, girl.
At least send her the pattern, though.
Seriously.
At least, yeah.
I will take a pattern as commission for coming up with this great idea of the petrichor sweater.
Watch, she probably already does have a pattern named petrichor, and we're just completely obtuse to it.
You have a Velicore.
I do.
You're wearing a Velicore.
My Velicore is in my closet.
Yeah.
I could go get it, but I'm very comfortable, so I won't.
This was 3 years ago. We started this as a make-along.
It was it was the first year that we went to Knit City, Montreal, so that would be 2023.
Okay, 2 years ago.
Yeah, so 2023 we went to Knit City in Montreal. It was the first time for all of us. We had an absolutely fantastic time. And in Melissa of Alley Cat Yarn's booth, she had a sample of the Vellicore. And we just it was comical. We walked into the booth, stopped in front of the sample because it was on a mannequin, and all three of us were like, and then immediately it was we looked at each other and it was like, cow, cow, cow. And then we all scattered to the four winds to find our yarn. And then 25 minutes later we came back and we're like, I did it. I got it.
I actually went stash diving for most of this.
You did?
So you were the...
These ones, no. Like the Les Belles Bouclettes, that I bought there.
Blue?
Yeah.
But the purple, the main color, that was stash
I bought my
diving.
main color there because I remember I had this Zauberball. Okay, I'll show it. Which is pretty much untouched at this point, and I've already knit 3/4 of the second panel and the whole first
You're almost
panel.
done. You won't need much more of that.
And I had no idea what I was gonna do with this Zauberball, because I didn't really want it to be socks, although I might have to make some shorties out of this.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Such a horrible
Because
thing.
this was a birthday gift
Yeah.
from a dear, dear friend and colleague. And I was like, well, I want it to be something special. I don't want it to just be on its own because it's only one ball and I want it to last. And then the Vellicore showed up. And I was just,
You're done.
that's the one. That's it.
Exactly.
That's how I'm going to use my Zauberball.
Nice. And you only had the one Zauberball, so to
I
see
only
that
had
you
the
had
one.
at least half of it left means...
I tell you, I'm a loose knitter.
Nice.
Yeah.
I definitely used more than 100 grams of sock wool in my contrast color, but I knit very tightly, so...
You sure do.
Yeah.
And one thing about this pattern is that it tells you to go a certain length.
Yeah. I also made mine longer.
Once you've split for the sleeves, it just tells you go this long.
Mm-hmm.
So it really matters if your row gauge is a little shorter.
I made mine... I actually wore mine yesterday to work.
Oh, there you
Now that I
go.
think about it. I wore it yesterday. I made mine longer, and then when I did the sleeve separation, I made the panels longer as well because I wanted a longer arm scythe, because I wanted it to be more of a tunic than a shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the details for that I have on my pattern page in Ravelry, which I will link down below in 2 days when I get around to doing the show notes.
Because if you can trust Allie to do something,
It's
it's document.
And the show notes. And the show notes.
It's the show notes, for sure.
Okay, so Maehrer has some book recommendations for you.
Oh, thank you.
She says, I recommend She Who Became the Sun. I just read the sequel, He Who Drowned the Sun. Historical fiction, gay love battles, incredibly written.
Oh my god. Thank
And then
you.
she's recommended a book that I believe you've already read. Because, so I also loved, for many different reasons, The House in the Cerulean Sea.
Yes.
I did.
And
I
then
so
the
did read
sequel,
that one.
Somewhere Beyond the Sea, and it's just so beautiful. Magic, high representation,
I
kindness.
did read them both.
Yeah, they're so good.
And I mean, the book is amazing, but the delivery of the audiobook,
So
the person
good.
the person that does the voiceover
Yeah.
for The House in the Cerulean Sea and the sequel,
Yep.
Somewhere Over the Beyond the Sea.
Somewhere Beyond the
Is
Sea.
it the same person for
It's
both?
the
Yes,
same
it's the
person,
same.
and that's great because in the plot of the series, there's a group of children, and they're all very different.
Yep.
And the narrator does a different voice for each one of the children, and it's just so good.
It's really well produced.
It's
the audiobook,
really,
yeah.
really well done, and I feel like it just went straight to my heart. It was such a good time. It had a fantastic message of love and inclusion and tolerance.
Yeah.
But you don't even feel like you're being taught something. It just the author makes you sort of get naturally to that stage where
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, everybody matters.
Well, because in the first book, the main character, or I guess you could say it's told in third person, but the main voice is this man called Linus, and he goes to the house on the Cerulean Sea, and he meets this, found family, and at first he's very much doing things by the book, heavily skeptical, but then you go on the journey alongside him where he becomes a family member to these kids and becomes attached to them and falls in love with them and that kind of thing. And you don't even realize that you're being taken on that journey until you get to the end, and you're like, well, how could I have not
You're like,
have ever loved these characters?
Yeah.
Like, yes, it took Linus some time to get there, but anyway, it's just beautifully well written.
It's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
Great recommendation.
Yeah, there's if you haven't already read anything by T.J. Klune is fantastic. So
yeah,
they're
I
just
definitely
great.
want to read a little bit more by T.J. Klune because
Same.
I just really liked the style.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah, I still quote that book sometimes.
Yeah.
It's really, really good.
I read the first one as an ebook, and then I listened to the second one on audiobook. And I kind of want to go back and listen to the first one again on audiobook.
Oh my god, do it! Yeah.
It was so well done. I can just hear Chauncey's voice in my head, like, oh, like it's. I obviously am butchering it, but it's so cute. Like you can picture.
I know, very awful.
You can picture every child and their personality in your mind.
Yeah.
Just listening to the voices that the narrator does for each of them. He's really put some thought
So
behind
cute.
giving each character
their own voice.
exactly,
their own
really
profile.
establishing them. It's so beautifully done. So like audiobooks that are done like that, always 10 out of 10.
Oh yeah.
Would recommend. So.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's my dork.
Woo! You're so dorky.
I am so dorky. How are you dorking over there?
Well, this dorkarella has lots of things going on, but that's always the case for me. So, my drink. I am drinking, and this comes with a story. I am drinking a mango passion fruit iced tea that I have poured a pineapple sparkling water into.
Okay.
So, I just came back from the UK, right? I was in the UK for my friend Emily's wedding. Beautiful wedding. Gorgeous wedding. I cried. Sobbed like a baby.
Congratulations, Emily.
Congrats.
So happy to see you married. Anyway, and so I was there with a couple of my friends from grad school, and one of them, Sarah, she had this one particular request. She's like, when we transit back through London, I want to go to Whittard's because I have to get a very specific hot chocolate for my friend. And we're like, yeah, that's not a problem. We'll go to Whittard's.
What is Whittard's?
It's like a tea, coffee shop type place. Like
Okay.
they do tea, coffee, hot chocolate, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So Whittard's of Chelsea is what they're called. You know, one of those historical businesses in London.
Cool.
So we go to the location in Covent Garden, and my other friend, Christiana, was also like, yeah, I love their hot chocolate. I want to get some too. And I'm like, oh, I'm down for the ride. I love drinks. Let's go to the tea place.
Yeah, let's have a treat.
We get there, and they have samples of, like, all of this stuff. And I'm like, ooh, I'll try this one, and ooh, I'll try this one. And they had this iced tea that was so good. And then I tried another one, and then I tried another one, and then I tried another one. And I was like, I don't need to buy anything from here. I'm good. No.
Famous last words.
But okay, so this point, it was like our last evening in London, and my suitcase was straining. It was very full. I had intentionally packed a small, like, carry-on size suitcase as my checked bag, because I knew, I'm like, babe, you cannot, you open the wallet and it's moths. Like, you know, you can't be buying stuff. So.
And there you go, buying stuff.
We didn't go to a yarn shop, though. We intentionally made the decision, Christiana and I, because she's also a knitter, we're like, we're not going to a yarn shop. So instead we went to like 6 bookstores.
I mean.
You know, when I was in... small tangent. When I was in elementary school, the school... What is it called? Director?
Principal.
The principal. School principal was this really sassy lady, and she used to say, es verdad que al que le toca, pero no te pongas en la tocadera. Which is, it's fair to say that when it's your turn, but don't go stand where they're handing it out, right? So yeah, it's true. Sometimes accidents happen and you end up buying a lot of books, but then also maybe don't go to the bookstore. Maybe
Maybe don't help.
Maybe
Okay,
don't.
no, but we had a reason though. So my friend Christiana is Icelandic, and also all three of us are big readers. That was never in any debate. I mean, we lived together and we were just complete bookworms. It was great. But Christiana's a big reader, lives in Iceland, and it is so expensive to get physical copies of books there because they have to be shipped into the island, right? Mm-hmm. So she had the plan already of, I'm going to the UK, I'm just going to pop into a Waterstones, find a couple of books that I have on my list, and I'll get them, and then it'll be cheaper than just buying them in
and getting
Iceland.
them shipped.
And getting them shipped, or just buying them outright in Iceland. So she had this plan, and of course Sarah and I are like, oh, of course we're going to support you in this endeavor. So we went into like 4 different Waterstones, which is basically like the equivalent of an Indigo here. It's like a big chain bookshop.
Right.
I was strong. I held out in my mandate of only buying at like small indies and stuff like that.
Right.
But we did go to Dial Lane Books in Ipswich, which was this fantastically run little indie store. They had the most amazing collection of like LGBTQ history, fiction on their main floor. Their children's book section was fantastic, so inclusive. If you're ever in Ipswich, which is in Essex, to the east side of the UK, please go to Dial Lane Books. They were amazing. I bought one book there, which I have since read. So I'm skipping ahead to my reading section of the door.
The Theater of Glass and Shadows. Oh, it's one of those formula of the something and something.
So I purchased this, and I'll talk about it in a second. And then when we were in London, we also went to one of the Daunt book locations, which is, I think it's a smaller, like it's a chain, but it's like a London-specific chain, if I understand correctly.
Oh.
But it started out as like an independent bookstore. And so I bought a copy of, I don't know where I put it, but it is, so Ken Liu is an author who, when I read his short story collection, The Paper Menagerie, it made me cry. Because it's beautifully written, and just the eponymous story, The Paper Menagerie, is so, like, it's representative of his, I don't want to give too much away. I want you guys all to go read it and cry.
You've talked about The Paper Menagerie before.
Yeah,
Yes.
like, so the impetus behind it is that, like, he's essentially a first-generation immigrant. Like, his parents moved to, I think, the States, and then, like, he was born in the States, raised in the States. So, obviously, his worldview is different from his parents, based on different experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And The Paper Menagerie kind of speaks to that. And when I read it the first time, there was, like, all of these parallels to my own life. Being
Yeah,
a
it
first
hit you
generation.
right in the first generation immigrant.
Right
Yeah.
in the feels. So I would definitely recommend The Paper Menagerie by Ken Liu, but he not recently, over the last couple of years, he's come out with a fantasy series, and I'm fully blanking on the name of it. Oh my god.
It's gonna come back to you when you do the notes.
I can see the copy of the book. It's that third one from the top in that stack there.
Shadow of Night?
No, the stack that's like, you can only see the butts of them.
Oh, yeah, that's not helpful.
It's the third one. Anyway.
What's
just
his
so
name?
that
Do you want to just grab it?
Yeah.
Name? Oh.
Actually, just so that you guys know, we're sitting right across from Allie's wonderfully organized bookshelves,
They're very full.
and it's just giving me all of the good vibes.
Like, I can take a photo and put it in stories later, but it's one up.
This
That one, yeah, that one.
Oh,
It should be that one. Yeah,
yes.
it is that one. So it's called...
The Grace of Kings.
So this is the first book in a series, and if I remember correctly, the series is complete, which is great because I hate waiting for things. It's a chonker, which is my favorite. So I bought that at Daunt Books. I haven't read it yet, because I do have like 3 library books that have just come in, and then...
Do you want me to put it back?
No, I just want to give it a hug. Thank you for grabbing it, though.
Of course.
Yeah, so I bought this one as well. This one is, rising to the top of the TBR. And while I was traveling, I'm skipping ahead to the reading section.
Go for it.
You know what? This is a Tulsa tee. I've worn it before. I
Y'all
love
know.
it.
Y'all know.
It's been here. Okay, now to the reading. I have probably many a diatribe. Shut me up when it's time for me to be shut up. This book was really good. So I picked it up because I read the first couple of pages in the store, and it reminded me a lot of The Night Circus by
Yes.
Erin Morgenstern and the Caraval series by Stephanie Garber.
Mm-hmm.
I finished it last night. I feel like there was so much potential in this book, plot-wise and character-wise, but it just wasn't fulfilled, if that makes sense.
In this book?
Yes, because this is a standalone. I think if this had been turned into a multi-book
series,
it would have really benefited from that, because she goes in from the beginning, and the way she writes is very similar to Erin Morgenstern. It's like such beautiful prose, and like her world building is very like tiny little nuggets that are put into the prose, and you don't even realize you're getting the world building until 20 pages later, and you're like, oh, I know the answer to this question. It's this thing. And so it's beautifully written, but I feel like this would have been so much better as like a multi-book series, because there was so much there for her to flesh out and give life to and expand upon. But the last third of it felt kind of rushed because she was trying to get to the conclusion of her story. I love it. I would recommend it. I think I gave it 4 stars last night. But yeah, it was really good. Maybe don't read it when you're traveling, because the prose is very much like you have to stop and think about what you're reading.
Okay.
That was my bad. I was reading it while I was like sleep deprived and traveling back from the UK, and I definitely had to go back and read several chapters after I had caught up on sleep.
Yeah.
Because it's very much like she layers like the world building with the storyline with like just beautiful language. Anyway, it's really nice. I liked it, would recommend it. I also finished A Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson while I was traveling. And then our good friend Alex very kindly just lent me, like just dropped off at lunchtime, the follow-up novella.
Mysteries of Thorn Manor.
So it's like an epilogue kind of novella, like a because it's a standalone book. So I'm excited to read that. That'll definitely get popped up to the top of the TBR as well.
You have a lot on the top of that TBR, my friend.
Yeah, well, it's only 184 pages. I could probably finish that tonight.
You could probably read it in your sleep.
I might just read this tonight.
Why not?
Yeah. And then I've got a couple of books from Libby as well, but we'll get to those. I think one of them only has 6 days left, so
I fully rely on you for my book recommendations.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's kind of the same reason why I like to buy thrift and consignment, right? Somebody else picked that item, loved it, and passed it along.
Lived in it, and then...
In it, loved it, and passed it along. And so that gives me a lot of confidence that I'm picking something that somebody else who probably had better taste than me already picked for themselves. And that's how I feel about book recommendations from me. Because I know you have really good taste.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, so far, every recommendation you've given has been a
banger.
Like a banger.
Well, here's the thing. I think it's also
I mean, I'm sure you wouldn't recommend something you didn't enjoy.
I think it's also a volume thing. Like, as I've said before on the pod, I prioritize reading over pretty much everything other than sleeping. So I have no problem like not knitting for like 3 days so that I can read a whole book stop or a chunker series. And so when you look at how many books I've read versus how many I have recommended, I'm only recommending the ones that I really liked or the ones that I think you will really like.
I mean, I still think about Jesus. The first one I think that I
never
read
think about
that
Jesus.
you... No. The first one, well, that was...
Same.
Same. The first one you recommended that I read was the, 9.5 or 7.5 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn,
Evelyn Hardcastle.
Oh my God, what a great book.
Freaking, but it was the first, because for me it was the first audiobook too.
Yeah.
And that guy...
That's a good one.
It was so good. I don't like audiobooks usually. I'm much more of a visual. Yeah, I can't stand audiobooks. Like
it takes you out?
Well, no, it's just
you don't concentrate the same way.
I like to hold it. I like to
I see. Yeah, that's a different type of joy.
I like to for me it's like just different. If I'm like, but for some reason I don't mind audio when it comes to podcasts or non-fictional books.
Oh, interesting.
That doesn't bother me.
No, I'm with you. I definitely prefer listening to the audiobook of a nonfiction, but that's because it becomes to me like a podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's interesting.
And usually I do that because podcasts, or anything audio, I tend to listen to it while I'm walking. It's really rare that I just sit down and listen.
Yeah.
For some reason, that mindset for me is like you're wasting your time. You're not doing what you should be doing. You should be doing something else.
Yeah.
But if I'm walking, then I'm like, you're walking. You can't do anything else. Might as well listen to something. Right? So it's either a podcast or music, depending on how I feel. But it's usually like I enjoy like podcasts or something where you learn something or you're, like, even if it's not learning. But
nice.
like my shout out to my favorite
podcast of all time, which is My Favorite Murder. It's
And
so good.
I hope we can take this moment to also thank everyone who listens to the recordings of our live streams as a podcast.
Yeah, seriously.
No, I'm
You're
joking.
not going to learn a lot from us. We're not teaching anything.
No, we're
but
just having fun.
we're just
sharing
we
our own
want to keep you
experiences.
company, you know. So if you are going on a long walk and you want to be kept company
Exactly.
by 3 rambling Canadians, look
This
no
is-
further.
This is it for you.
This is it. You found it. We're
This
gonna.
is it for you.
I was explaining this to someone yesterday, like, oh, what's your podcast about? And I was like, oh, it's just me and my 2 friends shooting the shit and knitting.
Pretty
and,
much.
and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, I interrupted you. Go on.
Oh no, like that was it.
That was
the
it,
end of
okay.
Yeah, like it was essentially it's that. I think you nailed it right on the head. It's like for me, physically holding the book and like reading is a different journey, and then if I'm listening, it's like a whole different. I guess I'm in a different mindset when I'm like walking.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's very much like sitting down and just listening to something is impossible for me. And I mean that literally. I cannot listen to music or anything audio if I'm just sitting down. It's not physically possible for me. Within 3 minutes, I'll stand up and start walking.
Do you think that's because of your
Oh, 100%.
ADHD?
It's ADHD. It's not like I can't sit and not do anything. And audio to me is nothing. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
it's not nothing, but that's how my body interprets it. It's like,
not-
I should be moving.
Yeah. It's not stimulating enough for your brain.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it
if I'm
makes
walking,
sense.
then it's totally fine.
This is why I like the audiobook and knitting combination, because my hands are still engaged, but
for some reason,
I'm
it's not
absorbing
enough.
content.
It's not enough for me. Like
That's fine.
I'm
That's
if
okay.
I'm talking on the phone with people, I'm still walking around the house. Like so when I chat with my bestie,
That's too cute.
I always spend like the second she calls me, I start doing all of my nighttime routine, like loading the dishwasher or like doing the litter boxes or like cleaning up stuff, making my lunch for tomorrow. Anything that makes me like
Movement.
I can't just sit and do nothing. And then at the very end, maybe I'll sit down and knit for like 15 minutes and I'm like, I'm out now.
I really like that. I like that you have like, you know what? I'm gonna call my friend while I do my chores because it's more fun.
Yeah, I mean, because we do like whenever we chat, it's a 2-3 hour affair. It's not like just 15 minutes. It's like
you're not just
it's
sitting on the
like
couch.
this.
Yeah.
It's literally this, but in like call form, and then we're just like, "How's your week? What'd you do?" Like,
Do you know the concept of not a rubber ducky, but a oh man, what's it called when you have someone else in the room present with you?
a body double.
Body doubling.
oh, okay.
So I feel like that's kind of what your chats with your friend are accomplishing. So body doubling, for those
Great
of you
concept.
that are not neurodivergent, is when you have another person in the room with you, or you're in conversation with another person, it is easier to access your executive function cognition thing. So you'll be more likely to actually start doing the thing that you're struggling to start doing. In chores, like house chores and homework are a very common thing that people use body doubling for. So for example, in my case, I don't really like cleaning up the kitchen or like thinking about what to eat and, you know, preparing the food, etc. But as soon as I'm actually doing it, I really enjoy it. The problem is getting started. So what happens is that when we're in conversation, in like around the table, I will get up while people are still conversing, and that gives me enough energy, let's call it something like that, to like start doing the washing up, or, you know, like we'll start thinking about what to eat, and I'll ask Gerbo, like I'll start walking and Gerbo will walk behind me, and while he's talking, I'm looking at the fridge. That's body doubling, right? It's just like, you don't have to help me. I can do it. I just need you to be present.
Yeah. And it makes sense, even if it's a phone call, because like, even if I'm like super tired on like, I don't know, a Monday or Tuesday night, and then I know I'm expecting the call, or I'm expecting to call, it's like the energy level like gets like comes back up a little bit just because I know I'm gonna have the conversation, and it like we're at a point where it's such a system that I have in place that like the second, like within 5 minutes of her calling, I'm already like, I already know what I'm gonna do around the house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's already like, and it's always the same things
Yeah.
usually. It's really rare that I deviate because it's usually stuff for the next day, right? So, but it's yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Just the prospect of somebody coming
but
over
like
is
sitting
the body
down,
doubling I need.
Sitting down just is not possible. I don't. If you can do it, I am in awe because I can't even.
But our brains work differently.
Consider doing it.
Because like
Me, I love a sit down.
I can't.
But once I sit down, it's over for you.
Well, I mean, if I'm sitting down, like, in front of a good movie, okay. My problem is, and this is why my partner and me, like, don't necessarily watch a lot of stuff together, is because we have a very different way of watching things. He likes to watch something, and then he'll eventually just fall asleep.
Oh.
I like to watch something, but then I don't like to watch it all in one go. What I usually do is I have this cycle. I think I told you yesterday. So I'll be knitting and watching something, and then I'll transfer to reading a book for 15 minutes, and then I'll transfer to maybe playing my video game for a little bit. Like if I'm by myself, I do the video game. If Matt's there, I'm not going to do that. But obviously, if he's there, I'm not going to stop and read.
But you're also very engaged when you watch a movie too. Like in the past, when we've watched movies together, you also have like a stream of commentary going on. You're doing something else where you're doing it.
But I'm always like, because I can't just sit there and watch.
I love commentary in a movie.
Yeah.
If you're watching a movie with me, absolutely give me your 2 cents. Give
This
me
is
all
why-
of your
this
cents.
is
I
why-
love it.
This is why I like watching like House of the Dragon or whatever, because we can just like, we have questions.
For the record, I watch all the things first before watching with the team.
Because then we have
Thank
50,000.
you.
Who's that? What do they do? What
I'm
does
the
this mean?
opposite. I'm the opposite. I'm a watch movie in silent and have like reactions silently, no commentary. Second watch is commentary.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we just go nuts.
But again, I have a different neurospicy, so
But you know what? It works because then if you can recommend something that you've already watched,
Yes.
if you don't mind watching it again
never.
with us,
Yeah.
I usually
we
don't.
can talk through it. I love talking through things and I love asking questions.
For me, it's more questions because, like, I'm not gonna lie, half the time, like, there is, I don't know if that happens to you, but I have these moments where, like, my mind, it's like a mind glitch where I just, like, either wander off or something happened and I missed something. I'm like, wait, what happened? And it usually lasts, like, a few seconds. It's not gonna be a long, but it's enough that sometimes I'd be like, who's that? like I don't understand, and I have to it happens a lot where I'm watching something and I have to rewind because I like lost my train of thought and I was like,
so
I don't know what
funny.
happened. So that's why my
Meanwhile,
partner and
I'm
me
sitting
are
here like taking notes, looking for the Easter eggs, like slow-mo rewinding to make sure I got every single piece of information out of every single scene.
It's
The
like
complete
type A
opposite.
planner versus like I'm just winging it. I don't know what's happening.
But I think
it's
that's
type
just
A
because
timing.
like the kinds of things that I like to watch. Like, okay, so during the first couple of lockdowns, I got so burnt out of watching TV that I just like don't really like. I watch a lot of documentaries because I love learning, but I don't really watch a lot of fiction television. And when I do, it's almost always like sci-fi or fantasy. And I love world building so much that I watch it in the way that I do to extract as much of that lore and world building out of it. So like I approach these TV shows the way I approach these books, right? Like academically. So that's just the way I go about things.
I love that.
That's just the way my brain
Meanwhile,
works.
I'm
and I
just here
love
for the
it.
ride. I don't know what's happening.
Scoot in,
Like,
buddy. Scoot in.
I've always said that like, like these focus groups where
What
like
focus
they'll
groups?
like like you have like these focus groups and they'll have like oh, did you enjoy this movie or TV show or whatever. I feel like I'm the person that they don't want because no matter what happens, I'll be like, this was great. Like I'm never like it's really rare that I don't like something.
That's
like,
such a great quality to have.
like I'm here for the ride. I'm like obviously here's the thing, if you don't have my intention to begin with, you're never going to have it. But once you have it, I'm here for the whole thing. So I don't really follow like reviews or when people say this was shit, I don't care, or this was great, I'll still watch it. But I've noticed that like let's take an example of a book or a TV show that's very predictable. People like will get angry because it's predictable. I'm like, I don't care. I'm here for the ride. I don't care if it's predictable or if like the world building has already been done or it's like it doesn't bother me, I still go for it. So I don't criticize. I just like I'm happy about it.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
But if I really don't like it, like it has happened
That you did.
that I really
didn't
did.
like it.
I have walked out of a movie once in my life, like at a theater.
Oh.
I'm not gonna name the movie, but it was a big
I'm
franchise
curious.
movie. And I was just like, this is just not for me anymore. And I walked out.
That's fair. So you're kind of like a fall fast, fall hard.
Yes.
Or not at all.
Yes. There's no in between.
That's a pretty good quality to have to be able to say, like, you know what, I don't really care if this is quote good or bad media. If I like it, I'm going to enjoy it.
Because it's also like people, especially when it comes to sci-fi or fantasy, where people are like, oh well, this is not possible. Or an action movie, like this would not be. I don't care if he can't jump. Like I don't care if this is not humanly possible. I don't care.
The sci-fi.
That's my point. Like I. Like,
is it you? You're like, that breaks immersion because physics.
Which I understand.
Yeah.
Which I totally get, but for me, like my brain doesn't register those things, so it's just like, what? And sometimes I will notice them because I'm like, well, that's not. But like a part of my brain is like, again, you're just here for the ride. Shut up. Like so that I can hear my brain telling me this.
Enjoy it.
Like just enjoy it. It's fine if it doesn't make sense. It's fine if there's no way he would have survived this. It's fine if he should be dead right now, like because he got hit like 5 times and like, but it doesn't matter. What matters is you're enjoying the ride.
There is this one book by Ken Follett. It's called The Pillars of the Earth.
Oh yes.
Very famous book.
Yes, I read it.
People may have read it. It's first in his Knightsbridge series.
Did a TV show of it.
They did a miniseries of it. This book has been out for like easily over 20 years, so I don't care if this is spoiling you. This book has been out long enough. There is this one scene in the book, and then they did it in the TV show, where, because it's based in like medieval England, there's this group of people, they're standing in a cathedral, and one of the, I can't remember if it's one of the walls or one of the ceilings crumbles because of like bad...
It's the
building?
ceiling.
It's the ceiling, okay. The ceiling crumbles. And they're looking for survivors when all of a sudden they hear this baby cry.
Oh,
and they're like, what? And they realize the ceiling caved in on this group of people, and while stranded under the rubble, this one woman gave birth by herself, and the baby came out perfectly fine in medieval England. And I feel like I think about this once a week. I'm like, it would never have happened. She would, first of all, she never would have survived the collapse.
100%.
Second of all, to have a baby and be completely fine in the rubble, and have the baby be completely fine in the rubble.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Like,
it's wishful thinking.
So, this is the kind of stuff that like takes me out of a
but
book.
Okay, but
the book was great. I love the book, but
at the same time, that one I can kind of understand because, well, not only is it
like
very
I get
much
it, they're doing
like,
it for the plot. But
no, but I mean, it's not fantasy or science fiction, so you can't give it the it's magic or it's, you know what I mean?
No, I still do. I still do.
Oh, with this? Oh, okay.
I still do. I'm a judgy bitch.
Like, when it's the second,
Someone
it's like,
has to.
I guess, because the second
I'm doing it for my people.
Thank you. Again, and things like this will make you not recommend that book to me,
yeah,
and
exactly.
I won't read it, and I won't.
And then that won't be a problem.
But I do.
What else did he write? There was another
Ken
book.
Follett?
Yeah,
he's
there's
written.
another...
There's like 3 that he's written in that series, and then he's just I say just recently.
No,
like in the
there's
last
another
5 or 10
series
years,
or something.
It's like Anglo-Saxon based.
The one that
picture
came.
my
is
dad
it
borrowed
after
my
Pillars
copy
the
of
Earth
it.
or before?
He's prolific. He's written many books.
I'm thinking of another one
I
that
haven't
like
read them all
apparently,
yet, but I'm working through
like
them.
apparently it's like 20 years in the future or something.
Yeah, no, that's the second book in his Knightsbridge series.
Okay.
Same series, but it's like
it's like kids
several
or
decades
grandkids or
later,
whatever.
and it's like the descendants of the people in the first book, and then the third book is like 100 years later.
Okay,
I haven't
cool.
I haven't read the third. I read the 2 first ones and then I just stopped.
Yeah, no, they're.
I do have to say,
a column of heaven. No,
Pillars of the Earth.
Pillars of the Earth, and maybe it's Column of Heaven. I think is something like that. Pillars of Fire, something like that.
Would you say that that's historical fiction?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say, when it comes to science fiction, sci-fi, a lot of things go over my head in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
World Without End.
World Without End.
That's the one I read.
Yeah. And I make a lot of compromises. I guess intellectually when I'm reading or consuming sci-fi media, because I don't care if it's possible.
Yeah, but that's what I mean, yeah.
I care if it's fun to watch.
Yes.
Unless it's something like absolutely too ridiculous that doesn't add more to the plot than it takes away from immersion, then I'll take issue.
Like, obviously, if we start noticing something that literally sticks out like a sore thumb, especially in a fantasy or science fiction like setting, then I'd be like, I'm sorry, what? Like, it'll take, but I think what it means is it takes a lot more for us to be like taking out of the story than for you.
Yeah. Again, different qualities that I appreciate in y'all.
Which is nice, because it just means, again, when you make a recommendation, we know it's good.
That's right.
Because it's like, if we make a recommendation, you'll be like, I'll check it out, maybe.
Because Allie has no tolerance for nonsense.
None.
Exactly.
It's funny. I have been a person who, historically, would never DNF a book. I would force myself to finish it, or I'd put it down for 6 months and then pick it up grudgingly later and finish the book.
DNF is do not finish.
Do not finish. I have very recently given my permission to start DNFing books. Ironically enough, I have been ruthless with TV shows and movies my whole life. Like, I will watch a TV show, I'll watch the first 3 seasons of a show, and then one episode, if I dislike it, done.
That's not what coming back to it. With Grey's Anatomy for me.
Like,
I literally shut it down so fast.
Which episode?
What's his face dies.
Oh my god, that could be anyone.
that could
I
be
think it's George. The one who gets hit by a bus.
George.
Yeah.
Okay, so the second that happened, I'm like, I'm out. I don't care what happens. I don't care why.
Season or second
No,
season?
no.
It
was a few seasons
further in, yeah.
It was a few.
But,
I was already not super in love with the protagonist. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like her. She annoys me as a character.
You're not supposed to like her.
Yeah.
Okay, because she really annoys me. Anyway, the point is, I just like that one was like a complete like shutdown. I do not care about the series anymore, and it really died. Like I've never wanted to see it again.
What's the last one that you DNF'd?
The last. This is how much I watch TV.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
I think I made it like. I watched of my own volition. I watched the first 2 episodes of season. No, I watched the first episode of The Secret Life of Mormon Wives season 1. I watched 1 episode, and within the first 10 minutes, I was like, I hate this so much.
Oh no!
And so I forced myself to finish the episode, and then didn't go back to it. I think it's different, because then a few weeks later, I ended up watching the first 3 episodes of the second season with friends.
That was fun.
That was fun, but I think the difference is that it was like an established TV show, so they weren't like, you weren't getting the introduction to the characters. Oh. And they weren't constantly trying to be like, I'm so cool, I'm so great in that first episode, because they had already established who they were, like the audience already knows them.
We were also talking over it.
We were also talking over it, and we were talking over it.
Yeah, it's a different it's a different thing when you have like people with you, and you can kind of like you can kind of laugh at it. At the same time.
Another one that I didn't even make it through the first episode was Parks and Rec. I made it not even 15 minutes into the first episode, and I was like, I cannot do this at all. 0%. Is it happening?
What's your take on Parks and Rec?
I'm okay with it, but I understand, because and it's not the only series. I've noticed that a lot of the series that are very similar to Parks and Rec, the first season, or at least the first half of the first season, usually is shit. Like, because I tried watching Parks and Rec 3 times, and then somebody told me, fast forward the first 2 or 3 like episodes, just keep like. And then I started like a little later on. I was like, okay, like it's not perfect by any means. It's not like did I finish it? I don't think I finished it. I watched it for Joe Swanson because he's so stupid. But like, it's one of those things where, and it's not the first series I've noticed that does this, where the first few episodes tend to be kind of all over the place. It's like they're looking for their identity to a certain degree, so they're not sure what they are, and like I don't need to be part of that.
Yeah.
So sometimes, if you want to, if you feel like this is something you might enjoy, just like fast forward half a season or something.
Okay, here's
15 minutes is enough for me to be like,
here's my take. I really hear you when you say, I don't need to be part of you figuring out who you are. And that's how I feel about people as well. Like, if you're on a self-discovery journey, oh my god, all the power to you, sister, but I'm just not going to be a part of that. Good luck. I'm only mildly kidding. But for Parks and Rec specifically, a lot of people recommended it to me, and I really recognize that the first season is rough. They didn't have the budget. They didn't have as many writers, and Amy Poehler's character was not well established. She wasn't fleshed out, and it was very surface silliness.
But the same thing
they made her
happens-
character dumb. But as you progress through the story, and they get better and better at making the show, the characters have wonderful development. The plot lines get super fun. There's excellent comedy. There's great acting. You just don't need the first season. You can skip it.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, for me, I
Still
think
not gonna watch it.
What
Don't.
it's
No,
fine.
still not
Like,
gonna watch
what
it.
really got to me was like the interaction between Swanson and his ex-wives, because one of them is his actual wife,
Yeah.
and they do a lot of like
The actor's wife. Yeah.
and they actually do a lot of
Megan
Megan
Mullally.
yeah, they do a lot of like banter and like this is not the first time they've done this, but in this particular show they do it very well, where it's like it's hilarious because like that chemistry you can't buy that. You know,
They
you
also-
can't make this.
They also were together as the villains in the newest season of the Umbrella Academy. What's his name? That plays Ron Swanson. Nick Offerman and Megan Mullally, his wife. They are fantastic in the latest season of the Umbrella Academy. Oh my god. And you're right, that chemistry
is like not like, again, this is not something you can like you can't buy that.
you can't act that out.
You can't act that out.
Yeah.
But it's, you know what, the same thing happened with The Office. The same thing, a lot of those comedy things, I feel like that's a problem they have, is that first season specifically tends to be very much like, I'm trying to figure myself out.
They're trying to figure out what's
Hear
funny.
me out.
You know what
Yeah.
I learned while watching The Office? I cannot stand cringe comedy. I can't stand
rough.
it. I can't stand it. If I turn on a TV show and within the first 15 to 20 minutes it's like giving off the vibe of cringe comedy.
Secondhand
Done.
embarrassment.
Done. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Can't do it. Won't do it. Can't.
That's fair.
I have a medium tolerance for cringe.
Me, it really depends. Like the first season, I don't like if I feel like rewatching The Office, I skip the whole first season because I don't like I feel like they've toned down as the season progressed, and again they got more into their own personalities and their own people and their own stories, and it was much better. But like, I don't mind. I'm just gonna skip ahead what I don't like. I kind of like just tune it out. If it's something I don't like, I'm like, I move on, and then I move. Obviously, if the whole thing is like this, like there's stand-up comedy specials that are like that, where within 5 minutes of hearing the jokes, I'm like, and I'm out.
Yep.
Versus Matt, who's like, this is fine. I'm like, for you, not for me. Like, this is not for me. So I've noticed I'm actually much more choosy when it comes to jokes when it's like stand-up comedy. That like I just like, and I can handle a lot of like weird shit because
Oh my
as
God.
a French Canadian, stand-up in like Quebec, stand-up is it can be really not, it can be cringe. Like, it depends who you're talking. Some of them are more family friendly, but a lot of them can be like, they can go on like weird subjects that I just don't agree with. But because I kind of grew up with this,
You have a higher tolerance.
I think I have a higher tolerance. But I'm noticing now that tolerance is starting to shift a little bit because I'll listen.
Because you're a better person now.
Well, that's the thing. I'll listen, and it's not like, usually it's like subjects like death, and it's people who have gone through these experiences, but they talk about it in a very nonchalant way that I'm like, I don't think this is like, I get that it's about you and your journey, but like, I don't know if I'm ready for this.
No, that's totally understandable.
You know, so but I've noticed that now it's kind of shifting back a little bit, where I feel I tend to be a little bit less tolerant, I guess.
So let me tell you this. A couple of years ago, my friend Julie started getting really into stand-up comedy, like not doing it, but like watching it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she was like, oh, there's this comedian that apparently is really famous. He's from the UK. Do you want to go with me? It's at the Lansdowne Arena. And I'm like, oh my God, that sounds so fun. Let's go. We go. It's Jimmy Carr.
Oh.
I don't know
That's rough.
I don't know if you guys know who Jimmy
Yeah.
Carr is.
Yeah, I do.
I had no idea who we were going to see, and she didn't know either. She just saw stand-up comedy. The prices look cool. Looks very popular. Let's go. And then it turns out he is incredibly inappropriate. But like, cringe is not the right word.
Like,
He's
no, but that's
just-
the thing. He's like
It's like
beyond.
uncomfortable.
He's
It's beyond.
self-aware on inappropriate, and he's like owning it in a really gross way.
Yeah.
He also has this really, like, let's be honest, he laughs at his own jokes, and his laugh is very
Good
contagious.
jokes.
It's very
Yes.
contagious, right? He has like a really kind of laugh, and that makes it funny because then you're laughing at him laughing.
Yeah.
But it was really uncomfortable, and it was like over 2 hours.
Oh no,
I would have walked out.
We couldn't. We were like in the middle of the arena. There's like people like sitting all like, it was packed to the brim. And his crowd work was so cringy. And Julie and I are sitting there like holding hands like, what the hell are we watching?
Like you would not pay me enough money to sit in any front row of any freaking comedy show ever, because the idea that like they would single you out potentially for something like scares me to death. Like I don't want to be looked at. I don't want to be like singled out and somebody like, no, I can't do it.
There is nothing I love more than sitting in the audience of a comedy show and being dead behind the eyes. I love doing that.
Really?
I love.
How do you keep your face together?
Because if the jokes are bad, I'm not gonna laugh.
Oh,
If the
that's
jokes
fair.
are misogynistic or homophobic, I'm not gonna laugh.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so I like being the person who, instead of being like, ha, 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 because I'm uncomfortable, I'm like sitting there and I'm like staring down the comic like dead behind the eyes.
Wow.
And being like, what the fuck? Like I love doing that so much. I once got called out in a show for doing that. And then when they were like, whoa, you don't think it's funny? I went, no, I don't. It's homophobic. And it was like crickets. And I was like, that's fucking right, man. Don't make no gay jokes that aren't actually funny. Like, don't make homophobic jokes.
We need people in the world like you, Allie. Seriously.
Yeah.
The bravery that it takes to, like, the social awkwardness that you need to withstand to, you know, like,
yeah, but you know what it is?
not support
You know what
it?
overcomes that social awkwardness? Righteous anger.
Spite!
Yes, anyway.
So that's my story about how I ended up in the Jimmy Carr show.
Wow.
Yeah, he's
Don't
not the most family friendly of
No.
His demographic
So.
is very specific.
Well, who was it? Like, there's a stand-up comedian on Netflix that was under, went under fire for I don't know what it was. All I know, because I never watched the show, all I know is that within the first few minutes, he said a joke that was very wrong, and a lot of people went, what the hell? And I remember it was, like, sexist. I remember that part. But he was
that could
actually
be anyone.
called out for it by like the general public afterwards, like on social media, because they're like, this
Classic.
is very, and he essentially said, I wanted to see who my audience was, kind of deal. But like, I feel like that's a really like lazy way to do this, or to like, that's like, no, you shouldn't, like, why would you do that? Why would you think, I want to know who my audience is? Like, you know who your audience is. Chances are they know you, and they.
Well, I mean, I will say this. They do have to, like, stand-up comedy looks like a really difficult job.
It does, 100%.
And one thing that I do understand is they want to use the beginning of the show to test the limits of what will get a laugh and what will not get a laugh.
Yeah.
So
Which is fair.
They'll go to, like, each end of the spectrum, and whichever end got the most laughs, they'll continue their set that way.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of thinking on your feet. All kudos to them. I would not have the bravery.
No.
But also, I mean, don't go there. Make your range a little bit less offensive. I would say.
That's what I think in his
easy to
case.
be
That's what
entertained.
happened. Is that it was like just too much, and because he actually had to defend himself.
Yeah.
And the worst part is that apparently, like, a lot of his audience is women. So why would you go for a sexist joke anyway?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, speaking of audiences, I'm going to finish my dork now.
Oh my god, you didn't
my
know
God,
what you
yeah.
didn't tell us what you were knitting.
I was looking for an opening.
Nah.
Squeeze in there.
And then we're
girl,
just like rambling over.
You gotta
Just let
make
you
your
go.
own
I just
opening.
let the two of you go.
You
It's fine.
gotta just like
I
you
wasn't
gotta
sure where
squeeze
we
in
were going to
there.
end up, and we ended up in stand-up comedy. So that was first, I think, for us. That's definitely a first.
I'm pretty
What
sure that
time
was
is
the first.
It's 2:30. Tell us what you're knitting.
I am knitting another Tolsta. The shirt I'm wearing, I'm making it again.
She can't stop.
She can't
won't
stop. She won't stop.
I am
Yeah.
making this in. So last year on Worldwide Knit and Public Day,
Which is coming up.
Which is
in
coming
2
up.
weeks.
we popped over to Fabrications, which is a store here in Ottawa, and Melissa of Alley Cat Yarns was having a trunk show that weekend.
Which I think she has again.
She had
doing
her
it
yak basis.
Yeah.
And so I bought 2 skeins of her silk yak fingering in, I don't think it says the color name on there, but it's like this most beautiful red.
It is luscious.
It's
It's
so
beautiful.
so good.
Thank you. So I bought the 2 skeins with the intention of making the Tolsta, and when I was packing to fly to the UK last week, I was like, oh, travel, new project, those are the rules. I can't
That's
break
correct.
the rules, right?
Yeah.
So I wound up one ball and cast it on, and I had the collar ribbing done before I went to the airport, and then I have just been knitting on this almost exclusively ever since.
What a fun project the Tolsta is.
Yeah.
Oof.
I also have a pair of socks on the needles, but they're just like, for when I couldn't bring the Tolsta with me when we were out and about. So, I like that.
Did you bring your chiagoos on the plane?
So here's the thing. I travel extensively. We've covered this before. I have been through multiple international airports. We've covered this before. And in my experience, flying internationally, leaving from a Canadian airport, chiagoos are okay. Like the metal needle tips are
It's
okay.
coming back?
Where I have experienced issues in the past is flying through Heathrow.
Oh.
So, again, and here's the thing. When you travel by plane, the rules in security in terms of what you can and can't bring on the plane are dependent on the airline, the country you're flying out of, and to some degree the individual airport.
Okay.
So I have found traveling out of Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, I have never had an issue bringing metal knitting needles on the plane. In the past, when I have flown home from Heathrow Airport, I have almost always had my metal needles taken away from me. Mm-hmm. So what I did was I brought the Tolsta to knit on the way there, and then I brought my bamboo tipped sock needles to knit on for the way back.
Did they break?
Okay.
No, they didn't.
Oh, okay.
No, they didn't. I might need to replace them though because I have stripped some of the wood off. I knit so hard.
You do. You're tough on your needles.
I am. But yeah, so that's what I did. I had the 2 projects. I had metal needles flying out of Canada, wood needles flying out of the UK, and I had no issues going through the airport this time, which was really nice because then I could get both. I had 2 sizes of project, and when we were on the train,
Yeah.
Tolsta, when we were gadding about London and, we were going on and off the tube, I just had my little 1 ball of yarn for the cuff of my sock and
Sure.
just in the tube. It was great. My friend took a very cute video of me knitting on the tube one day.
Aww. Knitting a tube on the tube.
Yeah, it was a cuff. It was a cuff.
There you go.
But actually, this leads me to some questions I have for the 2 of you.
Oh.
Some discussion points, although it is already 2:30.
Let's
so
discuss.
We'll
Let's
see. We'll
discuss.
see how far we get. So, when I was at my friend Emily's wedding, instead of a guest book, they had this beautiful painted board, and they had requested that the guests draw constellations, or instead of constellations, leave a little note. So I immediately drew my favorite constellation, which
Orion.
is Orion. Yes, thank you for remembering. Which is Orion, because here in this part of Canada, Orion hangs really low in the sky in like January, February, and so when I walk home from the train, from the bus, wherever, I see it hanging over home. So to me, Orion
Means home.
So I drew that on the little board, and I wrote a little note saying as such. But my first of 2 questions for the 2 of you is, what is your favorite constellation? And why?
Ooh. Do you want to go first?
I don't think I have one.
That's
I
okay.
never really thought about it.
That's okay.
I think I know like the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper. I know Orion, of course. But other than that, I don't think I actually know much about constellations. Yeah, no, because the closest thing to stargazing I've ever done was going up north with my mom, where we were in ebdsoporgprofile, and it was like pitch dark in the forest, so you can't you can see everything. And we got to see what do you call it, shooting stars, which are meteor showers essentially. So we got to see meteor showers, and it was freaking beautiful. But that's about it. So I can say that my favorite star would have to be the polar star.
Polaris,
just it's Polaris because it's so close, and it's Like,
That's a good one.
Whenever I see it, it's like,
Is that the same as the North Star?
That is the North Star.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
I was
North
gonna
Star.
say, yeah.
Like that, but I think, and is it in the Big Dipper or
Yes, it's at the very end of the Big Dipper.
Okay, so
that's
let's
how
say the
you
Big
can
Dipper
find
then.
the Big Dipper.
But,
Or
like,
that's how you can find Polaris.
I don't really have a reason other than like I like that star, and there's not really a reason why I like it.
You don't need a reason.
It is a great star to like. The North Star, I was gonna say, is my favorite star because you can always depend on it
In the Northern Hemisphere.
in the Northern Hemisphere, and I find
looking
that
forward to
very
Australia.
comforting. Always be able to look at the sky and find the North Star easily. To me, that's what means home. Is the North Star.
I like that.
But in terms of constellations, last year for my friend's bachelorette party, we had one of my friends do our birth charts, our star charts. And so I got to know what the Scorpio constellation looks like.
Yeah.
And now I want to make that one my favorite because it's connected to who I am.
Yeah.
And I found that I'm not very spiritual. I'm not a very spiritual person, but I found that the descriptions that came out of that reading of our birth charts were I really connected with. I thought that was really relevant to my life and to my personality and the way that I make choices and interact with people. And so I'm now like, really happy to know what the Scorpio constellation looks like and what that means like for me and how the stars kind of like what they looked like when I was born.
Yeah.
And they looked pretty cute. So yeah, I do like that. We even made a little like embroidery thing with our
nice.
star charts.
Yeah.
Which
That's
is pretty
cool.
fun to make. If you haven't looked up what your star chart looks like,
Yeah.
even just for getting to see what the stars looked like in the sky on the day that you were born, that's fun enough.
You can actually do that with the moon too. So there's
Yeah.
this company, I actually have the
Yes.
necklace. There's a company that'll actually like give you the necklace with the moon on the day you were born, like what the moon was like on the day you were born. So I actually have that.
Yeah.
And it's actually pretty cool because like it's like
Mine
if you
was
put it
almost
in
a full moon.
Mine was nowhere near putting the, I think it was
no
like
idea.
a quarter. But like if you put it in the under light and then you put it in the dark, it's gonna be glow in the dark. So it's kind of cool.
Cute.
That is
like
very
that,
cool.
Cute.
Yeah, I was born on a full moon, or like a little bit before the peak of the full moon, but
Okay.
it was full. Yeah.
I have no idea what
No,
moon
I
I was
was,
born under, but I was born
crescent.
right before lunch, which feels like way more important to me as a person than
Honestly,
what
yeah,
year-
you were
that
born
I was born like I was like 12,
At
like 12,
lunchtime.
12:30. Like I was
Okay.
born at lunchtime, and
I was
that
born at like 11:30.
that feels way more pertinent to who I am as a person than
Yeah,
the moon.
if that's not a description of who you are, you're ready for lunch.
Oh my god, my mom has told me the story of like when she went into labor. It was like 5:30 in the morning, and I guess her mom was like staying with them to like help, first baby, all that, whatever. And my grandmother comes down and she's like, "Susan, are you okay?" And my mom's just like putting together a lasagna at 6:00 in the morning
Oh
in
my
labor.
God.
She's like, "Yeah, I'm fine, no big deal." And then I was born at lunch, just a few hours later.
That's what the lasagna was for.
And so
That's lucky, though.
I
It means
feel
it was
like
a
that's
short-
very much like indicative. Well, I don't think she would tell me if she'd been in labor from like the day before. I don't-
yeah.
I
'Cause,
feel like
my
33 years later, all of that has been like grayed out, and she's like, I have a daughter whom I love, and that's all that matters. But
pretty much.
Hi, Susan.
but
No,
We
because
love you
like
too.
my mom did the same. Well, not the same thing, but she was reading. So, but I was one of those things where they were on the way somewhere, and then it started
yeah.
in the car, and then my mom just went, "Turn left. We have to go to the hospital." They start going,
Nice.
but once I was there, I didn't want to go out.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to come out. So like the water broke.
Stubborn from the jump.
Cozy.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's like you can't because the water broke, so you can't stay in there.
Yeah,
so
you
they had to
can't.
induce labor. But then
24
the second they
hours.
induced it, I was like out within like I was
Super
tiny. I was six weeks premature.
Oh.
My dad could hold me. I fit in. Well, these are small hands compared here, but like I fit in there.
Wow.
I was early too.
Oh, that's awesome. I love
Yeah.
premature. Preemies for the win.
I was a week late. I was due on leap day. There was a February 29th in 1992, and I was due on leap day. And to hear my
You were
parents,
Dua Lipa?
to hear my mom and dad tell it, they're like, "Oh no, you were gonna set your own schedule," and like they're right. I do
Again,
take my finance
so
time doing
in
stuff.
character
I mean,
for you.
we all did. Whether
Yeah.
you're born late or early, we all decided to come out when we're not supposed to.
But
I guess that's
that's
you know.
I was just inconvenient, I think. I haven't asked my mom what she was doing that day, but she was off. She was supposed to work because I was not due for another 3 weeks or 3 to 4 weeks. I was not due for another month. And my dad wasn't even in town. So he wasn't there. That's how inconvenient I ended up being. She had to take herself to the hospital and give birth by herself. Cause
your mom's a badass, though.
Yeah, she
to
is.
hear
She
you tell
really
it,
is.
she's a badass.
Yeah,
She's like,
she
I
really
got
is.
this.
Funny. That's funny.
Yeah, it's always me dropping problems on the family when they least expected. Hello.
Unforgettable. That's what
From
you
the
are.
moment you were born.
Unforgettable.
My purpose in life is to keep people on their toes.
Yeah.
You never know. You never
Well,
know.
okay. This actually links to the second question that I have for the two of you. As
What
like
is my purpose in life?
Almost. Almost. So when I flew back from the UK through a series of like airline related mishaps, I ended up taking a flight from Toronto that took off from Toronto at like 11:15 at night. And I was seated next to these two older women who were traveling back to Ottawa after so they're in-laws, like their kids married each other, and
Aw.
now they're best buds and they go traveling all over. Like, so cute. Life goals. I don't want to have kids, but like life goals, right?
That is life goals 100%.
I know. And so we got on the plane and they were having trouble figuring out the airplane mode on their phone. And I was, they're like, can you help us? And I'm like, totally, not a problem. Because they kind of reminded me of my mom, my aunties. And so, we're chatting and they're like, we don't want to go to sleep because we want to be able to get home. And I'm like, I feel you, ladies. And so they're asking me about like what I do and like where I work, and we're chatting, and I explain that I'm an objects conservator and that I love working in heritage. And one of them leans over, 'cause she's on the aisle, I'm in the window. She leans over and she's like, why do you do that? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, what drives you to choose that?
Oh my god.
And I was like, lady, it's like freaking midnight. We're on a plane somewhere over Kingston. And you're asking me these existential life questions
existential
when
crap.
I've been awake for the last 22 and a half hours?
What?
I'm not freaking ready for this. And I cobbled together some kind of, I don't even know, like my brain was gelatinous. I don't even remember what I said.
Do you have an answer now?
But I've thought on it because it's been, like a good 4 or 5 days. And I've been like chewing on this, like what drives me to do what I do, career related anyway. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's multiple answers for like other parts in life, but I've been sitting on it, and the answer that I came up to is that I am just insatiably curious.
Oh.
I want to know everything about everything. I want to know how things work. I want to know how things fall apart. I want to know why things were made. I want to know how things were used. And I find working in conservation that I'm able to get the answer to so many of those questions.
Oh my god, that's so true.
And it doesn't need to be about like the big giant things in history, materially or otherwise. It can be like the smaller things, like, okay, well this key was designed in this way, but like why was the handle of it fluted like this? Oh, because of the way that you hold it in your hand when you're opening the door means that you can put pressure with the inside of your hand to turn the key a lot easier because it's a large key, right? Like those tiny little things. I just insatiably curious. And so
cute.
after all of these days of thinking on it, that's what drives me. Curiosity.
That's such a interesting way of addressing what choices you make professionally
Right?
to get where you
Yeah.
are. And it's so true. I see you be curious
Yeah.
literally about everything.
Everything.
About food,
Yeah.
about books, about like how houses work, how things work, about your sewing machine.
And it's-
you're curious about everything.
The crossover is, from professional into personal and personal to professional. The crossover is there, as you say. But I just thought it was like such an interesting question, because instead of saying like, how did you get to there? Or like, what made you choose that industry or profession? The question was, what drove you to choose that? Mm-hmm. And it just like, I've been sitting on it. So now I'm curious for the two of you, like what, and for the chat, please answer what your favorite constellation is and why, if you have one, and what drove you to
do what you do for work.
To, especially if you're in a position like I am, very luckily, I've been able to follow my passion. What the driver?
What is the driver?
What was the
I
driver?
can tell you, I have an answer for this actually.
Okay, yay.
Most of you, I don't think I've talked about this a lot on the pod, but I had a career 180 around 2019. I went to school, to university for business administration, specifically for hospitality and tourism businesses. So for 10 years or so, I worked in the hospitality sector. I worked in restaurants, bars, parks. I was a travel agent for a while, and then towards the end of my hospitality career, a lot of hotel work. And that was what I thought was my calling, because I considered myself as being the most satisfied when I am being of service to someone else. It turns out I actually did not like the sector at all. I was talked down to a lot. I felt confined in a box of standard procedures that I couldn't deviate from. My personal appearance always had to be very bland and palatable to other people. So my self-expression was very limited as well. And I was probably 29-ish. I don't remember how old I was in 2019. We had already moved here to Canada. And I was feeling like I couldn't take another day of someone telling me, do you know who I am?
Oh, God.
And I was like, you know what? I don't feel like I'm being of service to the world. I'm being of service to wealthy people that are coming to this hotel. I worked at the Fairmont Hotel here in Ottawa. And it was rewarding work because it was hard work that I, was proud to be able to do. But I didn't like what the prospect of my impact in the corporate world was going to be, in like the professional world was going to be. I couldn't see myself contributing to anything good happening. After I interacted and went to work and came home, I was just tired, sad, aggravated, and I couldn't say it's worth it. So I started volunteering for an organization that certifies buildings for sustainability and energy efficiency, because I have a lot of experience with logistics and organizational skills from the hospitality business, so I knew how to put on events, and they needed volunteers to help with their conference. So once a year for a few years, I volunteered with them. They liked me, I liked them, and I started learning about environmental work, and I felt good leaving my time there and coming home tired after 8 hours of being in front of a computer on top of my regular job, just to be able to say like, oh, I contributed a little bit today for the world being better. I contributed to people learning how to take care of the earth and how to be making conscious decisions about the way that we interact with the resources that we have on the planet. And that started feeling a lot more satisfying than going to work in the hospitality business. No shade to whoever feels that is their calling. Definitely necessary, honorable work, just not for me.
Yep.
And so from that experience, I got a part-time job, which allowed me to quit the hotel. And then it turned into a full-time temporary position, and then full-time permanent position. And then I moved to other not-for-profits organizations, and now I'm a sustainability and climate change educator in the government.
That's awesome.
So that's what I do now. I teach people how to take care of the planet, whether they want to or not.
But you're making a difference every day.
Yeah, but it feels like, to me, it feels like my time is not just a transaction of hours for money.
Yep.
I'm leaving something behind that I can be satisfied and feel good about having put my time and effort into that. I have a lot of smaller skills that could be transferable to many other businesses, but I choose to give it to environmental work because that's what resonates with me right now. Yeah.
That's really beautiful.
Thank you. How about you?
Well, I mean, mine was a bit of a fluke because
I love a fluke. I call that destiny.
So between college and university, I took a year off where I was just traveling and working because I couldn't afford university yet. So I ended up doing a lot of working to like get money, raise money, and then I wanted to apply to East Asian Studies because I used to like Japan a lot, right?
Yeah, you still do.
Oh no, this is nothing compared to what I used to be. When I was at McGill University, I applied to the program at McGill University, and then I was declined because I took that year off. So I was kind of like wondering. I remember I was with a buddy of mine who I was teaching English to, and he's just like, let's just walk to Concordia and other universities in the area and just see what their programs are. And I was like, sure. But I was like so bummed out. And then we got to Concordia and I looked at the programs and I kind of just zoned in on translation, which I didn't think about it. I just thought, I guess I can do that. So it was really much of a, like, I don't know why I'm taking this. I just need to take something right now. So I just grabbed it. And then when I applied, I got in, and when I took my first class, it was a 3-hour lecture. And me sitting down for 3 hours, or even an hour, is not something that happens without, like me talking or me like moving in some shape or form. So I was kind of like, this is not going to work out for me. But those 3 hours flew by, and I remember just like hanging off every word that the professor was saying. And I was like, okay, I really like this. And this was years ago. So the profession has definitely changed now, but it was still very, like, it was a bit of a fluke how I got in. But then once I got in, I was like, I really like where I am. So then I got a job the second I got out of university in my field. Yeah. And it was nice. I enjoyed it. I moved around a little bit. But then what really got to me was when I started teaching translation. That was the big change for me. So I did a master's at Ottawa U, and right after the master's was done, I just decided, okay, I'm gonna like try to see if I can teach a class, and I did, and it was just really everything okay?
Yeah. We're just checking on the chat.
So essentially it was like just really nice. It was a nice change of pace, I think, to just try to teach instead of just doing. Mm-hmm. And I realized that now I'm at a point where I enjoy my work, but I enjoy teaching it more, because now we are not really teaching, like we're still teaching translation, but more importantly, we're teaching future, I want to say, language experts. Yeah. Because it's not going to be a person who can just translate. We're deviating, the programs are starting to deviate towards someone who can translate, edit, write, revise, like. So it's like it's fully rounded. Yeah, a fully rounded. So it's not just somebody who can translate, because, I mean, you can clearly see that the tools that help you translate are getting better and better, and they'll never replace a human, because unfortunately they can't in a lot of settings. They can for small things, but for bigger things, it's not as possible. But they're very useful. But that's why I think our best bet is not so much to like shut down that stuff. It's to actually embrace it and use it to our advantage, and kind of like embrace a bigger, like bigger role as a language expert. And that's what I'm bringing when I teach translation now. So that is definitely the most rewarding part of my work. 100%.
So the evolution of the industry, for lack of a better term, the evolution of translation as a skill set is what drives you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm part of the programs. So Ottawa U is actually doing a bit of they're remodeling the program right now, and I've been part of those discussions. And I'm very happy that they're letting us be part of those discussions, because I've noticed that sometimes when you're in an academic setting and you don't really see what's happening in the private or public sector, there are certain things you may not notice that are that are very much there. And and that's something that we talked about when I was
when I first started doing these discussions, where it was like it's not because I don't want to. It's just a lack of like they don't have that perspective, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just like I do have a academic perspective. I do not have the academic perspective because I'm not there all the time. I'm just a part-time professor. That's very different. So it's like two different worlds, right? That are clashing and are trying to come together to create a program for, and that was actually one of my master's, the subject of my thesis was actually kind of like how we can reshape programs so that they take more or they use more information from private and public sector and incorporate some of the competencies that are not necessarily like linguistics or language driven. So like what else does the translator need other than just know how to write well in the 2 or 3 languages that you translate. But yeah, so that's the evolution for me. It was a bit of a fluke that turned into a great, wonderful teaching love story.
I love it. I love that you can be part of that change, you know?
Yeah.
Because I see a lot of resistance to the adoption of new tools, not specifically for translation, but like
for everything.
For everything. Like new tools come out all the time, and being on the education side of that, where you are supporting the change instead of having to live with change thrown at you, you get to prepare a whole generation of people to deal with that and to benefit from that and thrive.
I think I'm very lucky because I'm in that generation that had a nice big chunk of their lives without internet, without cell phones, without computers. We got our first computer when I was 10, 12.
Yeah.
So a lot of that part made me very adaptable, I guess. And then when the computer came, the phones and everything, it was kind of like it was an easy transition because every time I'm like, it's the next step in the evolution.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm very fortunate to be part of that generation. I find I think it's a strength in my case.
Yeah, because you've lived through change and you can now advise other people on how to survive it.
Pretty much. Yeah. Well, because some people it's hard first. I still remember people who freaked out when we went from I wasn't there, but when they switched from typewriters to computers, we had people who were like, "This is not acceptable. It's not." But it's just that this was like, one of them was actually a coworker of mine for a few years before he retired. But it was one of those things where it's normal. If they've never seen this before, they've never had this before. Yeah. If they've worked for 20, 30 years in their career, they've worked with one specific system or model or tool. Exactly. And then they're told, like, now you're changing everything. It's scary.
It's like a get out of here with your...
kind of. It does feel like you're being pushed aside.
Get out of here with your new technologies.
Well, speaking of getting out of here, do we want to do a quick round of inspiration? Because it is 2:54 already.
Ooh, let's go.
What was the comments? It was...
it was just...
Anything addressed?
It was just a hello.
Yes. Lexi, thank you for joining us late. Thank you for attempting to join us yesterday when we messed up.
Yes!
Oh, yeah, that was my bad. Sorry, fam. I'm not great at dates, which you think... Okay. Which is why I have 2 other friends here who keep us on track.
Ironically enough, I looked at it so many times and didn't clock it either. So
we're all a little...
Whoopsies. Okay.
Inspiration.
Get ready. Oh my god!
It's just my face.
Wait a
what
second.
Is happening?
I don't know what's happening.
It zoomed out again.
It zoomed out again.
Okay.
Okay. Hold on, we're fixing it. We had this problem earlier.
Oh no, this is so embarrassing.
It's so funny.
We're just
gonna say it. This particular
episode
stream is going to be a write-off, guys. Like, it's just, it'll be there, but it'll be a reminder that we can do better.
Yep. We definitely could have done a dry run before today.
But you know what? It's okay. We are living our best lives and doing what we can.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, well, I can start.
What's inspiring you today?
What is inspiring me today? These mother of pearl buttons that I bought.
Oh my god!
Yeah, so I got these.
These are
at
so
the-
shiny.
I got these
so
at a little
beautiful.
haberdasher in the Spitalfields Market when I was in London.
love it.
And
It's like coral.
they're so mother of pearl, so they're shell. And I am obsessed with them.
Look at that
And
shine.
so now I have I've been looking for a couple of patterns, and there are a few that I have found, and the other one's not saved. Anyway, there's a couple of patterns that I have found that involve buttons, and I'm really excited. So I have been kind of digging through my stash, holding up the buttons, and there's Andrea Maehrer has a new project pattern, can't remember the name of it, that has like mosaic knitting and then like buttons down the back.
Oh yeah.
And then there's another pattern, I want to say it's called like the Oporto or something t-shirt, where it's like knit flat and it like has buttons up the sides. So I'm thinking buttons. I think a button up something is in my future.
I might, I want to see you in a cardigan is what I want to do.
Because of the shape of my body, I don't like wearing button-up cardigans.
But it doesn't have to
But
be...
have you looked at Andy Satterlund's crop cardigan series?
I have not.
Yeah, because
We'll talk about that.
We will have that conversation.
We will talk about that.
They may make it into the queue.
Great inspiration.
Yeah. Shell buttons.
I'm currently knit-inspired by my day trip to the Glengarry Renaissance Fair, which happened yesterday. It's on today as well. And if you don't have a Renaissance Fair close to you every year where you live, I encourage you to think about a little road trip to go, because everybody was wearing their best knits.
Ooh.
I saw shawls, vests, costumes, pouches, bags, scarves, all kinds of wonderful knit and crochet items that people were adorning themselves with and selling on the Renaissance Fair stalls. And I'm just so inspired by how creative everyone is. There was this lady that was selling literally knitted rats.
Oh no! That is so cute!
Love it.
It was so good. Another person was selling wands with a crochet mushroom at the top.
That's really cute.
Another person was selling knitted unicorn heads. Like
mounted.
mounted heads, but they were knit and sewn with fabric as well. It was just so much
funny.
creativity that I felt just like absorbing it all, and now I'm bursting with ideas that I probably will never come to realize, but it's fun to think about them.
There you go.
So the Renaissance Fair, highly recommended for inspiration.
And you were dressed as?
I was dressed as a hobbit.
Excellent.
Such a cute hobbit too.
Yeah.
Such a cute hobbit.
My inspiration is just lace, really, because it's my first project with lace in a while.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like
You're flying through that.
loving how it's turning out. So I'm very inspired by just lace in general.
Love it.
It feels very right for spring summer.
Right?
I
Yeah, I'm very
agree.
excited
Very warm
to finish,
weather.
to finish this and actually wear it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's 3 p.m.
Yeah, pretty much.
We should stop yapping. Never. Pack up and go on about our days. But we thank you so much for joining us today on this janky episode.
This better luck next time.
Yeah.
In like 2 days, when the video finishes rendering on YouTube, I will slice off the beginning bit. Don't worry.
So yeah, again, we'll be here in 2 Sundays. Oh well, not next Sunday, but the Sunday after that.
Let me just verify the date on that one.
Yes. So yep, we'll be here to chit chat with you, tell us what we're knitting.
It's Father's Day in 2 Sundays. So let me get back to you on whether or not my dad wants to do something on the Sunday or on another day.
It's all good.
TBD.
Okie dokie. We will come back to you again here on YouTube, and we hope that you'll be able to join us. Put us in the background, do your chores, or grab a cup of something in your project, and we'll be glad to keep you company and talk about silly stuff from the couch of one of our houses.
And hopefully we'll see you on June 14th at Vincent Massey Park for our Worldwide Knit in Public Day.
Yeah.
Barbecue!
The Eventbrite for the barbecue is down in the box below.
Yeah, so if you live in the Ottawa area, come and hang out with us for Knit in Public Day. We'll be cooking up a storm and serving you lunch.
Yeah.
And then just hanging out on the grass and having a grand old time.
It'll be amazing.
It'll be amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for being here, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.